Chief of Army Staff assesses level of destruction in Mangu, urges troops operate in line with rules of engagement. Ahead of rerun elections in Plateau State, INEC assures of hitch-free exercise. We're glad you could join us on Panorama today in Jos. I'm Mary Replong Domtur. You can follow this news broadcast live on our website, nta.ng/live, and on our YouTube channel, NTA News Online, and other social media platforms showing on your screen. President Bola Tinubu has directed the Ministry of Agriculture to ensure that the country remains food secured. The Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Abubakar Kyari, stated this when he hosted Niger and Sokoto state governors in Abuja. Musa Aliyu has the details.
Niger is the largest state in Nigeria in terms of land mass, housing more than 1 million hectares of irrigable land. The state is also ranked the largest producer of rice paddy in Nigeria and also a leading producer of yam. However, in the areas of processing and export, the state is lagging behind. This therefore necessitated a visit by the state governor to the Federal Ministry of Agriculture seeking for partnership.
Niger State,
the governor told the minister that he is targeting 1 million hectares of land this year for cultivation of assorted food in the state.
And we are deploying irrigation pumps. Some of them are renewable energy, understanding the need for us to reduce carbon emission. We have attracted over $1 billion investment in agricultural mechanization and technology in the last 6 months.
Sokoto State Governor was also in the ministry. They cried how the activities of bandits are affecting agricultural activities in part of the state. He explained some of the measures his administration is taking to ensure farmers in the state increase productivity.
That our major concern in Sokoto State, as far as food production is concerned, is the issue of banditry affecting some part of the state. There is no way without security farmers can go to the farm.
The Minister of Agriculture says the ministry is mandated to ensure availability of food in the country and seeks for state governors' support.
The Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security is dedicated to implementing stringent measures in the forthcoming dry, wet season farming for rice, maize, and cassava to ensure transparent distribution of agro-inputs and targeting genuine farmers. Collaboration with states, local governments, traditional rulers, NGOs, and relevant MDAs and farmer associations will be crucial in achieving this goal.
Sokoto State is recognized as one of the leading states in vegetable and livestock production in the country. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
View of the positive impact already being felt across the various sectors from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's economic reforms, students joined from law schools across West Africa have thrown their weight behind the foreign loans and donor funds recently assessed by the government for urgently needed infrastructural projects. Speaking in Abuja, they, however, want the president to put mechanisms in place for ensuring that the funds are transparently and prudently expended.
Mr. President, kindly set up a committee to restructure the World Bank loans, including the modalities. We don't want our loans to be used again on any advocacy, meetings, or consultancy, even paying for office rent. We need it to be used transparently on sustainable empowerment and support that will be open to the public to verify.
to mitigate the level of insecurity in this country, Mr. President has to take proper action in making sure that these monies get to the people at the grassroots for the use of people at the grassroots.
Its ongoing projects before more funds are committed to their continuation. Two personnel of the Nigerian who sustained injury during an encounter with kidnappers are currently on admission at a government hospital in Abuja. Francis Form reports that the force headquarters is doing its best to ensure that the wounded officers recover speedily, and this will not deter the police on its onslaught against criminals.
On the 2nd of January 2024, ASP Mohammed Audu, while leading his team on a routine patrol within their jurisdiction, received a distress call from an inspector. On getting to the office, they were told to move to the scene of the crime. On arrival at the scene, what they could hear was the sound of gunshots, and here is Mohammed Audu, who led the team bedridden. ASP Audu is not alone. Beside him is another inspector who also sustained bullet wounds in the encounter. But today, they are alive to tell their own story.
That's why they brought me here, both out. One of the main inside, they have removed it. And the second also, which is Audu. Also, the injured they have gone.
And they've been receiving care, and they're actually doing very well. For the team leader, that's ASP Audu Mohammed, is particularly recovered much more than we actually expected.
Force Public Relations Officer Olumuyiwa Adejobi, who visited the injured personnel, said, contrary to some speculations, the police swiftly responded to the distress calls on the 2nd of January, which led to the killing of one of the police personnel and a civilian.
It's one of the hazards of the job we always experience, and the SCP has assured the officers and men on the field that they have his backing, they're going to have his support at all times. The morale is high. The agility is there for us to do what is needful. And you agree with me that in the recent time we have achieved a lot of rescues, have been done, arrests have been made.
Force PRO assured Nigerians that this will not deter the police in safeguarding lives and property. Francis from NTA News.
Of Army Staff Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja is asking troops assigned to keep peace in Mangu to deal mercilessly with those perpetrating evil in the area. This was while an on-the-spot assessment of the situation in Mangu. Rinret Silvanus Lot has details.
The recent attack in Mangu led to wanton destruction of lives and property of citizens. Worried by these incessant attacks, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja, was in Mangu to assess the security situation with a view to finding workable solutions to the challenges. After being briefed by the Commander Operation Safe Haven and GOC 3 Div on the security situation, the Chief of affected areas to assess the level of destruction. Addressing the troops, Lieutenant General Lagbaja charged them to be disciplined and focused, while expressing confidence in their ability to handle the task ahead. Addressing journalists, Lieutenant General Lagbaja said the task of the army in Mangu is to ensure zero incidents of violence.
To manage any crisis or conflict situation, it has to be a delicate balance of three major actors of the government, the people, and the military. The military is meant to create an enabling environment for other elements of national power to come into play. The military has been on the plateau for some time, and so we need the appearance of other elements of national power to bring a lasting and sustainable peace to plateau. We have said this, we are discussing with other critical stakeholders to ensure that that is done.
Earlier, the Chief of Army Staff was at the government house where he met with Governor Caleb Mutfwang on the security situation. In Jos, Rinret Silvanus Lot, NTA News.
It was a successful outing during the February 3rd rerun elections into the Plateau North Senatorial and Bassa Just North Federal Constituency seats. The People Democratic Party has flagged off campaigns with a strong commitment to ensuring that the party reclaims the seat. Bilkis Nuhu reports that representatives from the zone affirmed their support for the candidates.
The Langfield Hall was filled to capacity as PDP members and supporters from Bassa, Barkin Ladi, Jos North, South and East, as well as Riom local government areas, to reaffirm their support for the candidates in the rerun elections. Party leadership in the state are optimistic that it will reclaim its seats overwhelmingly in the elections, going by the massive support shown during the last election and the resolve of the people.
So I want to, on behalf of the party, to appreciate you all for the support. I appreciate you for the prayers. I appreciate you for the altars that you have raised. What has happened to Plateau State is an answered prayer that God knows that we raise altars. This victory is to no one but God Almighty.
And we know our strength in the northern zone. If we scored 90% in 2023 March, what percent should we score this time around on February 3rd?
Governor Caleb Mutfwang and Senator Jonah David Jang urge all party faithful to remain resolute and ensure that the PDP comes out victorious at the rerun.
We have a duty and a responsibility to go to every nook and cranny of the 6 local governments of Plateau North, and of course particularly for Jos North and Bassa, to ensure that these 2 responsible gentlemen return to the National Assembly.
Let's come out with everything. Nobody should stay at home. In the northern zone, we must go and vote Dr. Mancon as our senator, Musa Aga as our member of Federal House of Representatives, Bassa Jos North.
The candidates, who were full of appreciation for the massive support shown to them, promised to consolidate on the promises earlier made to their supporters of bringing dividends of democracy to their doorsteps.
We've never failed you when it comes to representation. Some of us have made our voices very, very hard in the National Assembly. And I will assure you that by the time we go back, we can still repeat what you have sent us for.
The February 3rd rerun election follows appeal court ruling which nullified the elections earlier conducted in March 2023. In Jos, Bilkis Nuhu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, ahead of the 2024 rerun elections in Plateau North Senatorial District and Jos North Bassa Federal Constituency, the National Commissioner and Chairman Board of Electoral Institute, Professor Abdullahi Abdul-Zuru, is interacting with prospective supervisory presiding officers in Jos towards a robust and value addition to the electoral process scheduled for 3rd February 2024. Ndayang and Ebagang reports that the INEC National Commissioner interacted with participants at a training for SPOs in Jos.
The National Commissioner and Chairman INEC Board of Electoral Institute is in Jos. His mission is to meet with management of INEC and have on-the-spot assessment of supervisory presiding officers, SPOs, who are undergoing a refresher electoral course ahead of the February 3rd, 2024 rerun elections in Plateau State. These SPOs, who will be saddled with the supervision of the conduct of election in a cluster polling unit, are accountable to the electoral officers. Recognizing these roles, the Independent National Electoral Commission has brought together more than 200 staff for a refresher course going through the entire electoral process.
Functions of the presiding officers and assistant presiding officers were emphasized so that the process will run smoothly.
We've learned new developments on the machines.
We let them know the step-by-step procedure and process for accreditation.
At the end of the day, we'll pick facilitators who will go and train the APOs and POs at the various local governments.
The chairman, INEC Board of Electoral Institute, Professor Abdullahi Abdul-Zuru, says the training is to cross-fertilize ideas to ensure the lessons learned during the 2023 general elections are cascaded down to the foot soldiers.
That LYC or presiding officer
that is there is the face of INEC. So how he interacts with the voter creates an image about INEC to the voter. So we want to be sure that these people are trained in terms of skills of handling our equipment, filling our forms, and not only that, their attitude towards the voter must be the right attitude.
The rerun elections are coming on the heels of the Court of Appeal ruling on the 2023 election that produced both the senator representing Plateau North and member representing Jos North Bassa Federal Constituency. In Jos, Indenyan, and the Abagang, NTA News.
The resident electoral commissioner, Plateau State, Dr. Teso Oliver Agundu, is in the studio to shed more light on the exercise. We're glad to have you, sir.
Thank you very much for having me.
Sir, INEC has scheduled rerun elections for Northern Senatorial Zone and Jos North Bassa Federal Constituency for 3rd February 2024. How far?
Yeah, so far we are ready. We are good to go. We have put in place all the necessary arrangements to ensure that the election go on as scheduled and it's hitch-free. We have so far deployed all our non-sensitive materials to the 6 local government areas of Plateau North Senatorial District, and we have undergone, I checked through some of we have gone around the local governments to supervise their level of readiness, and we concluded that yesterday. As I speak to you, the training of ad hoc staff is ongoing. We started that, as we just earlier reported, with the training of XPOs, and it was supervised by the National Commissioner. And shortly after that, we commenced 2 days ago the training of our presiding officers and assistant presiding officers. As I speak to you, the training is ongoing and it will be concluded today. So in terms of personnel too, we are good to go. We are going to take delivery of the sensitive materials at the beginning of the week. We hope that by Thursday we should deploy them to the various local government so the election we go on the 3rd as scheduled.
Okay, sir, how key is the training of these SPOs to the successful conduct of the exercise?
That is one of the most cardinal aspects of a successful election, because the materials on their own cannot conduct election. We need people who will anchor the process. We need people who administer the process, and that is why we don't take even for granted. In this off-season election, most of the staff are even INEC staff. But as a commission, we have not taken it for granted that these are people who are familiar with the electoral process and management. We have taken it very seriously that even those who know, there's no harm in repetition, that because we know that repetition even strengthens memory. So we have stepped up our training so that those who participated even in the last election just a few months ago should still carry on refresher training so that they will update themselves with the necessary skills and some mastery of the functionality of beavers and some other roles they need to discharge in the field. So we have taken the training of our staff very seriously because the success of every election depend on the quality of personnel we deployed in the field. All necessary arrangements may be in place, but if the people who will administer the process and those who will anchor the process are not up to date and are not up to speed with the standard expected of them, you may not have the desired result. So so far, we have taken that seriously, and we have seen the response from our trainees, and we hope that with what we have done, and we are concluding the training today, with what we have done, we are sure that when eventually they are deployed in the field, they will not just make us proud, they will help to ensure that we have a fair election, a credible process, a transparent process, and an inclusive process, and an election that eventually will be verifiable. That is, an election that, if need be, it will be out there for people to see that truly this was a credible process.
Okay, sir, what are those messages you want to pass out to the major stakeholders?
My message is very simple. The success of election is a multi-stakeholding activity or exercise. It's not just about INEC. It has to do also with the electorates and all critical stakeholders, including leaders of political parties and even the candidates themselves. The right attitude and disposition towards election is very key for smooth election. We have done our part, as I have just read out here. We have put in place all the necessary arrangement to ensure that the election proceed as scheduled and is smooth, is transparent and credible. But that can only be achieved if the political actors equally reciprocate our gesture by putting in right attitude, conducting themselves orderly, mobilizing their people to comply with the governing principles that will be governing the election, ensuring that only those who have voters' card come out, and only those who have passed through accreditation through the use of beavers are allowed to vote. And then there is a peaceful conduct, those in terms of trying to create a peaceful atmosphere that will guarantee a smooth process. And then the security of our personnel and materials is key. So we expect that the security personnel too will do their job. We expect that the voters, prospective voters too, will comply with the rules. We expect that political actors will also play by the rules.
Thank you so much, sir.
For us,
we can
we
go
are
on
good to
and
go.
on, but
Yeah.
time is not on our side. Thank you so much for shedding more light on the rerun election.
Thank you very much.
Panorama will continue after the break.
The counsel of our fathers.
I will urge and advise our younger generation to use talent and brain to sort out problems, not arms.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation.
My advice to these young people is please do not take us back to those harrowing days. You probably do not know what it is.
I believe we have fought one civil war too many in this country. So those who experience it will run away from it.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation together.
Welcome back. Nigeria beats Cameroon to set up Angola quarter-final clash as Toby Amosun begins 2024 season with a win. For more on this and other trending stories, let's join Oche Ngbede for sports updates.
We begin with football as Nigerian Super Eagles have booked their place in the quarterfinals of the 2023 African Cup of Nations after Ademola Lookman scored twice to beat disappointing Cameroon 2-0 in the last 16 in Abidjan. The Atlanta forward opened scoring 9 minutes before the break after Victor Osimhen forced Umar Gonzalez into a mistake and then tee up Lookman to fire past the Cameroonian goalkeeper.